I was saying that it's such a privilege to be doing this reading with Naomi and Jane, and also to celebrate the importance of the last quarterly review. I'll start with a poem entitled This New Year. Listen, these dragon-tooth icicles, ferret, a season between seasons. They're icy things clinging to the eaves of houses and bare branches of trees. There's something beautiful here, but also terrifying. Snowy mounds, this horrid new year, marking my bones for bad times and good times to come. I don't know where the lightning came from, how it began the left hemisphere and circled out the right side of my body, leaving its mark. In fact, I'm sleepy now. The fields, snowy tufts of dead grass reminds me of fluffy colors. Love, where am I? No, I can't lift my foolish right arm, always trying to encircle and hold joy too close. I was once a fast walker, moving ahead and back, then the past fingers tapping a ceramic shaker. Yes, my love for salt unblessed me. Each half step I tried not to take, warmth of a name in my mouth, what had almost taken me away. A phantom stood shaking his head beside my hospital bed. I could hear the doctor years ago saying to me, my ancestors crossed the Atlantic, craving salt down in the ship's hold. A darkness fell onto snowy shapes behind my eyes. How many hours passed before that kiss on my lips? Look out at the cold and hot frost, recalling early deaths of childhood friends, pork flanks tied with grass hanging from smokehouse rafters. I often say that poetry is celebration and confrontation. I hope that is the direction that I'm going tonight. Okay. A visit to inner sanctum. A poet stands on the steps of the grand cathedral, wondering if he has been a coward in hard times. He traveled east, north, south, in 7 directions of the West. When he first arrived on the other side of the sea, before he fell into the flung open arms of a long romance, the lemon trees were in bloom. After a year poised on the rift of a purple haze, he forgot all the questions he brought with him. Couldn't he see the tear gas drifting over Ohio as flower children danced to Jefferson Airplane? Will he ever write a sonnet dedicated to the memory of 4 girls dynamited and a Birmingham church. Standing in the cathedral, again, in the midst of what first calibrated his tongue, gold icons, and hidden jaguars etched into the high beams. He remembers an emanation almost forgotten. He can't stop counting dead heroes who live in his head. Sultry refrains that kept him alive in the country of clouds. Underneath the granite floor where he stands, loom the stone buttresses of an ancient temple. When he was a boy, with his head bowed, close to the scarred floor, he could hear voices rising from below. Their old lingua franca binding with his. How could he forget? Outside the Institute of National Memory, he toasts the gods hiding between stanzas, the girl he left behind for enemy soldiers to rough up and frighten. She never stopped waiting for him, even after she lost herself in booze. Now he faces a rusty iron gate. Did she know someday he'd question the life till he held only a bone at the dull green door of an ice house where they stole their first kiss? To have laughed beside another sweetheart in a distant land is to have betrayed the soil of dispossession hidden under his fingernails. Suppose he pursued other smaller passions, singing of night dew. The dead ones kept him almost earnest, tangoing with the wives of despots, entranced by stolen light in the eyes and hair. He never wanted to believe a pinch of salt for a pinch of sugar is how the scales are balanced. Okay. I'm functioning without the use of my right hand here. Okay? My father's love letters. On Fridays, he'd open a can of Jack's. After coming home from the mill, and asked me to write a letter to my mother, who sent postcards of desert flowers taller than men. He would beg, promising never to beat her again. Somehow, I was happy she had gone, and sometimes wanted to slip in a reminder how Mary Lou Williams, polka dots and moonbeams, never made the swelling go down. His carpenter's apron always budged with old nails, a claw hammer looped at his side, with extension cords coiled around his feet. Words rolled from under the pressure of my ballpoint. Love, baby, honey, please. He sat in the quiet brutality of voltage meters and pipe threaders lost between sentences, the gleam of a 5-pound wedge on the concrete floor pulled a sunset through the doorway of his tool shed. I wonder if she laughed and held them over a gas burner. My father could only sign his name, but he'd look at blueprints and say how many bricks formed each wall. This man who stole roses and hyacinth for his yard would stand there with eyes closed and fists balled, laboring over a simple word, redeemed by what he tried to say. Okay, I'll just read two last poems, I think. Anodyne. I love how it swells into a temple where it is held prisoner, where the god of blame resides. I love slopes and peaks, the secret paths that make me selfish. I love my crooked feet, shaped by vanity and work shoes made to outlast belief, the hardness, company milk that can't fashion. I love the lips, the salt and honeycomb on the tongue, the hair holding off rain and snow, the white moons on my fingernails. I love how everything begs blood into song and prayer inside an egg. A ghost hums through my bones like Pan's midnight flute, shaping internal laws beside a troubled river. I love this body, made to weather the storm in the brain, raised out of the deep smell of fish and water hyacinth, of the rapture and the first regret. I love my big hands. I love it clear down to the soft, quick motor of each breath, the liver's 10 kinds of desire, and the kidney's lust for sugar, the skin, the sack of dung and joy, the spleen floating like a compass needle inside nighttime, always divining West Africa's dusty horizon. I love the birthmark posed like a fighting cock on my right shoulder blade. I love this body, this solo, the ragtime jubilee, because I know I was born to wear out at least 100 angels. And the last poem is just a 16-line poem. I wanted to write a book that celebrated small things, everything possible in our universe, a praise song, ode to the maggot, brother of the blowfly and Godhead. You work magic over battlefields, slabs of bad pork and flop houses. Yes, you go to the root of all things. You are sound and mathematical. Jesus Christ, you're merciless with the truth, ontological and lustrous. You cast spells on beggars and kings behind the stone door of Caesar's tomb, a split trench and a field of ragweed. No decree or creed can outlaw you as you take every living thing apart. Little master of earth, no one gets to heaven without going through you first. Thank you.